we talked about this a little bit in the NXTea Party, and when we talked about Paul Heyman and getting on stage in front of people that pay to ask him questions, and he talks about Brock Lesnar as if Brock Lesnar calls his own shots. That he walked into WrestleMania not scheduled to beat The Undertaker, but he beat the streak anyway because he wanted to. He just did it. And my question for you guys is Paul Heyman full of shit?
Support, no DQ.
I honestly believe that, Paul Heyman is a devious individual. He's a smartass, but he's also one of the greatest wrestling minds in the business. But at the same time, Brock Lesnar knows his worth to the company, and that's what he holds over Vince's head. So do I believe he walked into WrestleMania ready to beat The Undertaker? No, but I think he said, let me do this or I'm leaving? Absolutely.
No, we're talking about he went into the match and stole the victory. Actually put down The Undertaker when he wasn't supposed to.
Oh, God, no. But
that's what we're talking about.
I don't think that occurred. I think if anything, maybe The Undertaker was supposed to win, but then like I said, Brock Lesnar probably intervened or had some sort of meeting with Vince and said, "Look, if I don't get to beat The Undertaker in this match, I'm not going to stick it around here." And Undertaker, being a man who knows what's good for business or what's good for business in general, because he's been with the company for so long. I could actually see him, especially since he was supposed to be retiring soon anyway. I was actually hoping he'd step away after that match.
I have to argue that was not best for business.
It wasn't. In hindsight, it wasn't.
No, in foresight, it wasn't either.
Yeah.
Because anybody should have thought, A, Brock Lesnar doesn't need it.
No.
B, who does. C, the fact that they're going to give it to Brock Lesnar and then he's going to have a limited schedule where he's never around. So what's the fucking point? If you're going to defeat the streak, give it to somebody that's got time to put in. Somebody in their 20s or early 30s that's got another 10 or 15 years to put into the WWE. They stay healthy. You don't give it to Brock Lesnar, who's got another 5 years on a limited contract, who you're spending millions of dollars on for very few dates.
So okay.
Who doesn't need it? He's already established.
Let's shove that over to the side real quick then. Who would you have had beat The Undertaker for his streak instead of Brock Lesnar?
Who would you have?
I'm asking you the questions, good sir.
What about you, Colin? You got an answer?
Oh, man. Well, let's see.
I would have had CM Punk do it.
No, I wouldn't have CM Punk.
I would have had... No, think about it. Okay. If CM Punk had beat The Undertaker and beaten the streak, do you think he would have left?
No.
No.
I honestly don't think so. And Paul Heyman actually said that on the DVD set that I have at home. One of the reasons that CM Punk left was the fact that he thought he should have been the one that actually beat The Undertaker. And then for Brock Lesnar to... I feel that was kind of like a slap in CM Punk's face, because Brock Lesnar wrestled Undertaker, I think, was it that next year, or was there another year in between there?
Yeah, I think it was like SummerSlam, and The Undertaker used a low blow to beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but I'm saying, with that, CM Punk was gone at that point, and it was just Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, and it wouldn't shock me if Vince just said, okay, we're going to give Lesnar the W since CM Punk isn't here. And that's going to be a direct slap in his face.
I just think CM Punk would have been the smarter person to give the rub to. Because CM Punk still had another 5 to 10, maybe even 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
And he was big enough, but that would have pushed him way over the top. Mm-hmm. He would have been so much more credible. And by that I mean he was credible as a babyface. But as a heel... he was always like the Miz kind of run and hide heel. Get a group together to keep you safe kind of heel.
Second City Saints.
Or be delusional because you've got Paul Heyman kind of heel.
Oh, yeah.
As far as babyface, he was fine. But that would have given him heel credibility because he would have beaten The Undertaker as a heel.
Colin, your take on it.
To give it to Brock Lesnar was pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, I have a feeling, like a real strong feeling that Brock Lesnar went into business for himself that night. I mean, this is the man that, call to work, call to shoot if he wants to, but this is the dude that threw the Universal title at Vince McMahon after WrestleMania last year in the gorilla position.
And we watched the video. It happened.
Yeah. It's true.
We were there. We seen it.
We seen it.
It's true. But, no, I mean...
That's third-party validation.
Brock Lesnar, like, I don't understand why. Like, I mean, the dude already had enough handed to him. He already came back on this belt, on this fucking baller contract. Only has to work, 12 days a year at most. He doesn't need it. Give it to somebody who actually was going to be around. Like, yeah, you guys said CM Punk, but I would have waited, if you would have waited until, 2014 or 2015, when Seth Rollins was a heel.
Yeah.
No, Seth Rollins' great heel wins were always with help.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you could have rewrote things a little differently, this is obviously fantasy booking we're talking here.
Yep.
That, or even, if they would have pulled the trigger on Reigns as a heel, because he's going to be around for a while. Like these dudes that are, their main players.
Didn't look like that for a bit.
Let me stop you there. Reigns did get a WrestleMania win over The Undertaker, so...
Yeah, I get that, but he wasn't the first one to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he was the only other to do it.
Yeah.
I know. But, no, I don't think that Paul Heyman's full of shit on that one. I don't know. Brock has been known to go into business for himself on many occasions.
So he went out there and beat The Undertaker to the point to where either The Undertaker couldn't kick out or understood that he wasn't meant to kick out, that Brock Lesnar was going to keep putting him in the F5 until he just laid there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. I don't know. I have never... Since the night that I watched it on my phone coming home from work, it's never set right. Okay, this wasn't supposed to happen this way. You can tell it wasn't supposed to happen this way.
We should have included this with the conspiracies episodes.
Yeah.
The Undertaker Brock Lesnar's conspiracy.
On the Aftermatch Files.
Nice. So... what did everybody bring to the topic table?
Well, my pick for who should beat The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah, you never answered that. Daniel Bryan?
No.
Oh, he said Seth Rollins, that's right.
He said Seth Rollins. You said CM Punk. I'm actually going a little bit more outside the box and a little bit weirder, but at the same time, the feud would have made sense for one. And that would have actually given somebody a decent rub. Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens versus The Undertaker would be an awesome match. And that only add to Kevin Owens' heel status as being...
No. I gotta be pragmatic here. Okay, by the time Kevin Owens
I'm really hating that we looked up that word.
So by the time Kevin Owens would have been to the point to where he could defeat The Undertaker, he would not have been able to carry The Undertaker through a match. Undertaker is old. That's why I'm glad he's not going to be at WrestleMania this year, because he does not need to get in the ring ever again. He has nothing left to prove. He's
right.
He's cemented his career, his legacy, his Hall of Fame-dom, everything. He's there.
I think Owen Finch would have beaten you for that comment.
Nobody can wrestle forever, because eventually you get too old to do so, or your body gets broken.
Yeah.
That's going to lead us into Tommaso Ciampa a little bit later.
Yeah.
The Undertaker has to stop at some point. Now is just fine, because you've got a whole crop of new people that deserve a spot in WrestleMania without The Undertaker taking it. Just because it's WrestleMania and he's The Undertaker, and god damn it, can't a guy retire?
Right, he's done everything that he needs to do. He doesn't need to prove anything else to anybody. I mean, we're all... in our 30s, we've been watching a long ass time. He's
retired.
done his deal. He can go sail off to the sunset. There's a new crew on its way through. We don't ask anything else of you anymore, man. Just go live your
I was
life.
about to say
Yeah.
you done good.
He retired with the loss against Reigns, and then so far they've brought him back, 3 times with money?
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta be money. I mean, to face John Cena in a 3-minute squash that was not even advertised, you gotta think they just did that hoping that he'd take the bait and come in and get the big payday.
That's the match I would have wanted to see more than anything. Would be John Cena and The Undertaker, streak versus career. Have John Cena put his career on the line.
If Sting was gonna lose anyway, should have been Sting versus Taker instead of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the same year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the lighting. I hate when they do outdoor venues on the East Coast for WrestleMania, and it's all outdoors, so the sun is ruining all of the atmosphere for entrances and everything.
No, I thought it was on the West Coast that year.
Could be, or that's what it is. The
Yeah,
West Coast, because it never gets dark.
Because when it's 8 o'clock here, it's
Okay, yeah.
there.
So the Undertaker comes out and it's fucking daylight, and it ruins the ambiance.
It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
Undertaker's just decked all in black, just sweating his ass off.
Yeah, I bet. I like when they do domed stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get the huge crowd, and you can still kind of seal in the sound. It definitely picks up for the fireworks that it's inside a dome, but you can control the lighting, and the Undertaker can have a proper entrance. But you know what? It's okay, man. Greatest entrance of all time, and he will have many more of them, just not to get in the ring for a match.
Oh.
Okay, so around the same topic of what you were just talking about, is something that Cindy mentioned not too long ago, and basically it's going to be something I know Colin's going to want to touch on anyway, because he made a stellar video about this situation with Kurt Angle's retirement match coming up.
Okay, I know where we're going now.
But my question is, does anyone truly retire these days from pro wrestling?
Nope.
No, because
our last bastion of hope was fucking Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Money, man, will make you do whatever.
Especially
with as much money as they're bringing in from
Saudi Arabia. Yeah,
Saudi Arabia.
That dirty Saudi money.
Whatever. We'll throw whatever.
Blood money. I like that as a pay-per-view.
That's what they should call it, blood money instead of crown jewel.
Somebody made a graphic for that. It wasn't a great graphic, but it was a great concept. I like the name, blood money.
Yeah,
perfect.
But there's no blood allowed in WWE anymore.
That blood pay-per-view.
But if you were to actually choose like a retirement opponent for Kurt Angle at this point, who would you have chosen?
I said last week, John Cena. What about you, Colin?
I would go old school, and I would bring back Charlie Haas, and then I would bring Sean Benjamin to it and have a Team Angle triple threat elimination match as the retirement match. Cool.
That'd be
protects Angle,
yep.
And it would make the match interesting.
Yep. I'm about to say you have Shelton Benjamin doing his like high flying spots. You have Charlie Haas doing his like amateur wrestling.
I think the only correct answer here is anybody but Baron Corbin.
Get Jillian Hall back in there, Jesus Christ!
I mean, fuck, we've seen this match and it's never been good. Why are we expected to believe it's going to be good just because it's on WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I'm not a Baron Corbin hater like a lot of people. I don't even mind the getup. I don't mind that he wrestles in fucking dress shoes. How much bullshit do they feed you on this show? I guess I was 33 years old when I realized wrestling boots aren't really necessary. I mean, Rusev used to wrestle barefoot. Matt Riddle wrestles barefoot, and I get it. But I figured, like, wrestling boots have got to do something. No, Baron Corbin, who's like 6'5", and Beanstalk Narrow, fucking gets in there with these like fucking dress shoes that have no support.
All right, so after last night, I'm gonna say this: Kurt Angle's like last match is not gonna be against Baron Corbin. It's just not. He's gonna wrestle again sometime soon. It's going to happen. But I want it to be somewhere down the line. And at this point, After seeing what I saw last night, if we got a little more seasoned, I believe Matt Riddle will be an awesome retirement opponent for Kurt Angle. Kind of like pass on the submission like stuff to him. You know,
I think this needs to be Kurt Angle's last match.
it needs to be, but it's not good.
You don't.
It needs
okay,
to be, but
you don't watch the main roster. You haven't seen the last 2 Kurt Angle matches on Raw.
My friend Chad told me about him.
He's too old.
He's done.
His body cannot keep up with his style, and without his style, he's not much of a wrestler.
Well, it's also the years of like drug abuse and whatnot.
I'm sure it's
himself.
All come together.
If you would have taken Chad Gable present from this past Monday against Angle 10 years ago, it would have been a fucking award-winning match.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
But I mean, I'm glad we got to see what we saw. You know, don't get me wrong, but no, Angle, he's too old. He's beaten up. He's put his body through fucking hell. Like drugs and alcohol, they beat the shit out of your body, especially when you're in that business doing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to just hang it up. Go have, sail off to the sunset, be an ambassador, be a coach if you want to, but just stay out of the ring full-time competitor. Like, just hang out with your family, be a grandpa, be a dad.
I think he accomplished what he needed to do when he was in TNA. This whole comeback, although it was great in theory, has not been great in execution. And he didn't need to get back in the ring to get into the Hall of Fame.
No.
And he doesn't need to go anywhere beyond WrestleMania in this retirement match. It just doesn't need to be against Baron Corbin. I like Baron Corbin. I think his finishing move, not the Deep Six, the
End of Days.
End of Days. Great finishing move.
Oh yeah.
And he's a big guy and he can put it on just about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Six in itself is a good move, just not original necessarily. But when he slides out of the ring, runs around the corner, comes back in and does the clothesline, dig it. I like Baron Corbin. But this match, no. Kurt Angle's retirement match at WrestleMania, fucking no. And I get it. They've had this planned since he came in and basically tried to steal the GM spot from Kurt Angle. I get it. This has been a long-term storyline. This is the culmination. Kurt Angle's retirement match at WrestleMania. But fucking no. You shouldn't have given us this match for free fucking 37 times over the last, 4.5 months. Should not have happened. This should be the first time they met in the ring, but it's not. And Kurt Angle's not at his best, and Baron Corbin can't carry him. We've seen that. We need John Cena, who can fucking carry Kurt Angle from one corner to the other and back. That's my rant. I quite enjoyed that.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I think it's absolutely bullshit that we're getting Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle again. Like I said in my video, obviously he does have some cool moves. His theme song is pretty decent, but I mean, no, he's not. He doesn't really have the credibility. Like, you know what I'm saying? He does not have any type of credibility to be the one to be facing Kurt Angle in a retirement match. I mean, he was a crappy U.S. champion. He won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which means fucking nothing.
No.
Well, in theory, this was a good decision. This should have been a blood feud, but in execution, they gave us the blood feud already. It's done.
The blood feud they want is like out of an RPG, and what they gave us is a fucking pellet gun. It's nothing. This is bullshit. This is and hopefully they change it. Hopefully they do something. WrestleMania is 18 days away.
Yeah, something like that.
17 days away now, something like that. There's 10 matches for it. I normally request off every WrestleMania Sunday like it's the Super Bowl, because it is my Super Bowl.
Right.
I'm half tempted to not even call off the whole day, because this year is not.
We have no choice.
They're going with quantity over quality. It's going to be 12.5 matches. But
here's the thing: there's still 7 matches in 2 weeks. What the fuck are they gonna do? It's gonna be a slot fest, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna fall asleep halfway through it. Because it's going to be too fucking long.
Well, I asked off, but I'm also doing a board game party with Jerry on Saturday night, and we had to have Friday off because
Takeover Phoenix or Takeover New York.
Takeover is going to be on Friday instead of Saturday, so we have to watch Takeover. We have to watch Takeover and do a review. That's what we do, man.
Mm-hmm. That's where we make the big bucks.
We don't really have to do it, but if we're gonna do it, we do it.
I mean, I'll join again if you want me, like I did the last NXT Takeover.
That was awesome.
That was my first video with you guys.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
We actually made mention of that earlier. It's like, has Colin ever done an individual tea party with us? It's like, no, but he did. He had our Takeover Phoenix review with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but no, I mean, the build for WrestleMania this year just feels real lackluster to me. I mean, I was talking about it with a few of my other friends because, there's some more of us around here that watch wrestling, but they said the same thing. That it's not. It's WrestleMania season, but it's just like.
You want to know what the problem is? Two co-branded pay-per-views in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. It cluttered everything up.
I mean, I was at Fastlane, which was dope. It was awesome. It was a great time. But, no, I agree. I mean, there should be one, or honestly, there should be none.
No, one's fine. Back in the day when it was one, because there was no dual brands. See, the two of them coming between Royal Rumble and Mania happened because one of them had to be a Raw branded pay-per-view and one had to be a SmackDown. And they'd be like a week or 2 weeks apart. Well, now they've kept the idea that there's two pay-per-views, but now they're co-branded, and they've just set them just enough apart so that it's like 3 weeks pay-per-view, 3 weeks pay-per-view, 4 weeks Mania. Used to be 5 weeks pay-per-view, 6 weeks Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And they had plenty of time to build, and everybody didn't have to be on every show.
Like, I'm expecting, hopefully Sami Zayn shows up before WrestleMania, because obviously
I bet he shows up in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Woo!
Like
on the pre-show,
where
Noah's going to be watching because the cruiserweights are on the pre-show. Yeah, we're making fun of him.
Where does Kevin Owens stand at WrestleMania so
205
far?
matters.
Where's Kofi at this point? Who is going for the WWE Championship at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
Where
at this point, it has to be Kofi. Because there's 2 shows left, and you haven't built up any other feuds for the WWE Championship other than Kofi. The only other thing you can do is bring in somebody that's coming back, like a Sami Zayn. But you've already served up Kevin Owens, and I bet that was the original idea, that Kofi would get Fastlane, get screwed out of the title, and you could transition easily into Kevin Owens because he's coming back, like he's fresh, like you don't expect some big long feud, you just have that, and that's the momentum leading into the match.
Yeah.
In this case, Kofi's the only feud going on, so who else do you put in the match for the title if not Kofi? There's a good question. Who else would you put in if not Kofi?
Returning Bray Wyatt?
Ooh.
That'd be neat.
I stand corrected. That is probably the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the second best, because just Kofi being in it is the best. They've got to be going for that. What about you, Jerry?
I really don't have a stance on it because there's still 7 other matches that we have no clue who's going to be in them.
Okay, so we were talking about Kurt Angle. That's what got us on Mania. So speaking of careers ending, let's just talk about Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
Because my question is, should he hang up the boots? Because the one thing I got out of that promo/video montage, and with the interviews from the surgeons and doctors and whatever off of NXT, Tommaso Ciampa's got a brand new little baby.
Mm-hmm.
So he was busy when he was out with his knee injury, and he'd probably go get busy again when he's out with his neck injury.
Hey-o!
When he's up for some
little bit
jarring of the neck.
There's gonna be some fairy tale endings going on right there.
So I'm just saying he's sitting there holding his daughter while the doctor is drawing on his neck. or son. I think it was a daughter.
I think it was his daughter.
Anyway, and meanwhile they're showing the pictures of or the X-rays of his neck, and they're showing where the pressure is and talking about one wrong shot to the head and he'd be paralyzed. I'm just sitting here thinking, yeah, even with this neck surgery, you could come back and get fucked up and never be able to hold your daughter like that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
So should he come back?
I mean, if the extent of the injury is to the point where, you know, one false little bump and, you know, your whole world is upside down. If I was in his shoes, I didn't have the career that I wanted, but I got so far and so close, and it's a career that I could be proud of. But at the end of the day, I want to be more proud to be able to hold my kids and walk with my kids in the park and, you know, chase them around and, you know, slam their boyfriend against the wall when they're old enough. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you know.
Jerry's going to have to deal with that.
Oh, so totally going to have to deal with that.
I ain't got no kids, man.
So
these shows, these are my babies. Other than that,
but yeah, I would hang up the boots, but I wouldn't get out of the business. You know, I would talk to Hunter, and, you know, similar with like a Corey Graves, how he went to commentary. You know, how about he takes on like a Matt Bloom role and starts working with NXT and with developmental, or, you know, working with promo or whatever, you know, whatever he can work in, or even go over to the Performance Center in the UK and work with some of those talent over there.
My idea was to have him manage Johnny Gargano, and that way he would always be right there. And then if at any point he does heal up to the point to where it is safe to wrestle, then boom, you're right there.
Yeah.
You've established this for however long.
I like that too. That's
because, I mean, there are injuries that take several years and you think a guy's retired, but then Shawn Michaels comes back and has an even better career, arguably. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you see where it is after whatever amount of time it takes to rehab after the surgery. But I would err more towards caution, man. Like, he's got a brand new little baby. If he wasn't a parent, I would say maybe, like, go for what you got in NXT but in WWE. But technically, I mean, NXT is the developmental brand, but he technically went out on top.
mm-hmm.
And if this is in fact the end, then he did go out on top. Just the top of NXT, not the top of SmackDown or Raw.
It's like an Edge situation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I would edge toward caution and be more likely to hang up my boots. Edge toward caution. Nice little pun.
Hey.
Err. That's the word I wanted. Err towards caution.
Well, that works well. So, with me, I honestly believe that, yeah, he needs to go ahead and stop. But at the same time, his role with the company should be, like he said, probably like a trainer at the facilities, but more of a talent scout than anything else. Because he started off in chaotic wrestling in Massachusetts, and was, you know, got to see all these other people come up. He got trained by John Cena's dad. Okay, like that's just something that it's just something that has been really cool, because I got to watch him go from chaos to Ohio Valley Wrestling, and like leave that only to go to Ring of Honor and become the Sicilian Psychopath we know now, and like into like, you know, NXT. And like, for him to end this career as the champion for NXT without being pinned for the belt, that's fine. That just makes him almost a version of an undisputed.
And it's not like
champion.
he had the belt for a month or two. Like,
no,
he had the belt for over half a year.
Yeah, and that's like going to be super important. Like you've said a couple times with the whole announcing thing, I think he would actually grow a little bit stagnant after a while, because he, like, Corey Graves just has that like swarminess to him, and just that he's almost got veteran status as well, because he's been in the company he's actually been wrestling for quite some time as Sterling James Keenan, back when he was getting CM Punk type references. But for Tommaso Ciampa to become like a announcer or like a commentator at this point, I don't see that working because I think he would actually get the bug again because being that close to the action and not be able to get into it, and that could just shorten his career even further with the fact that he's portraying that he's a lot better than he actually is.
I'm willing to bet his goal is to get back into the ring, but I hope he does err towards caution just because when it's your neck, I mean, just now there's some miraculous things that can be done in healing, and down in Panama, I've said this before, but down in Panama they do some amazing things, and maybe they could help him, but I don't know if wrestlers really go and give that kind of shit a try, or if they have to go all through WWE medical and shit and do all the shit that they want you to do. Like, would they force chemo on somebody that's got cancer, even though chemo tends to kill more people than it saves?
Yeah.
So, what's next? Let's get away from Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, it's depressing.
It's depressing as fuck. What about the 5?
Well, let's save the 5 for the main event. I was discussing this with you a little while ago, and I want to get Colin to weigh in on it as well. The funniest either in-ring segment or wrestling moment that you could think of.
Oh God, dude! Titus World Slot.
Yes!
Wow!
Yes! You gotta figure out how to fist bump me here. Yes! That was immediate.
All right, so one of my favorite clips since I've watched it, since it happened, the Grand Slam 2018.
Yeah.
Was Sam Roberts' wrestling podcast with Corey Graves, and it's Corey Graves laughing at himself watching the clip of himself laughing. So it's like multiple segments in different octaves of Graves laughing at himself. It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing ever. But no, that was, oh God, like I don't belly laugh very often. But it was like the whole, like, I'm laughing, waving like I'm in church, crying, my stomach hurts. Like, it was, oh man, and it just, and
they replayed it so many times.
So many times. And it was, how bad it could have been if he was just.
Yes, that was my note.
Were you in the truck with us?
Seriously, he asked me this question. We were like this far from my apartment, just down the road. And I'm like, Titus World Slide. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, Titus World Slide. And what's odd about that is, if he was an inch further up his head, the frame of that ring would have taken off. It would have scalped him. Yeah, would have taken off the top of his head.
He was about 4 inches, 5 inches over to the right. His head or shoulder would have hit that A-frame center support beam. And fucked his world.
Yeah, so he landed. He landed perfect for it to be funny.
Or just imagine if it was the LED, like on Raw, the LED board.
That was my first note when watching that was about that, because they were in Saudi Arabia, so they didn't bring as many of the accoutrements that they normally have for Raw, SmackDown, and the pay-per-views. So they didn't have the LED board aprons. I don't even think they had the LED board ring posts. But yeah, if they'd had the LED board, he would have gone face first into that bitch. And you know what? That might still be my answer to the funniest moment in WWE. If he'd have gone head first into the LED board, that would have been right up there.
Yeah.
But as it was, what was yours? Because he made me watch it, and I do kind of remember it, but...
Well... Other than Chris Jericho's list of 1,004 holds, which is still one of my favorite moments of wrestling in general, Triple H's oversell in a match with Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair and Randy Orton is like by far one of the funniest moments that they have ever seen in my entire life.
Okay, so I'm going to act this out, and it's probably going to cut off the top of my head. But, okay, so Triple H is on the middle rope in the corner, and he's going to come off onto Randy Orton. Maybe he was on the top rope.
It was the second rope.
And he comes off and catches Randy Orton's leg straight up in the air. So he catches the
Right
boot
over
to the chin right here, and he falls back like this, stunned. And he just holds this pose for like 40 seconds.
You have Shawn Michaels leaning
in
and
the
waving.
corner, like, don't fall over. And then he fakes like he's got this. Okay, I'm good.
I got
and as soon as he starts walking, he takes a Ric Flair dive face first into the match.
It was just so long and drawn out. People were cracking up in the crowd, and like you saw Triple H just kind of fading back and forth. The referee's even like doing this number, like you okay?
When Hunter ripped his invisible shirt that he didn't have on, it was like a fucking SmackDown or something. You just there's no shirt on, but goes to rip it.
Titus World Slide though beats all of that hands down.
Yeah, it trumps everything.
Oh, that and
no, not that end. But go ahead.
No.
But go ahead. What's number?
Both of you. Jesus. The NWO first appearing in WWE or WWF. I think it was WWE.
Yeah.
Well, them appearing and talking about how they weren't there to poison. They're not who everybody says they are. They're not power hungry. They're not money hungry. Scott Hall even going on and say like we're marks. We're gonna hang out, get a couple autographs.
No. Again, Titus World Slide for the win. So since we're gonna do the 5 for the main event, let's talk about Kofi Kingston now.
Okay.
I was gonna save that for the main event. So we are on track to finally having a full African American or black. Can I say that? Can I say black?
Why are you asking me for?
Okay, let me ask the other half. Turn around.
Hell yeah.
We're on our way to finally having the first black champion or WWE champion because we've had many world champions or WCW or whatever you want to call it.
WCW, NWA, because you had Ron Simmons.
The big gold belt champions. We've had plenty of those.
Yeah.
But never a WWE champion, unless you count like 1/4 of The Rock.
A quarter rock.
Quarter Rock from the Sun. So, Kofi loses the gauntlet match, which actually kind of made sense to me because usually these gauntlet matches are 7 people, right? In this case, it was 6 if you include Kofi. Daniel Bryan makes 7. Totally makes sense. Should have seen it coming. I did see it coming because I checked the time and there was like 5 minutes left after Kofi won because I was like, damn, they're going to give Kofi over an hour. But then he won like 5 minutes before it was over and I'm like, oh, he's going to get screwed. Mm-hmm. And he did. He got screwed. Yeah. But how do we get him there?
I don't know. I said the same thing though. Like there was like I looked at my clock. I'm like, oh shit. There's like 5 minutes left. Someone else is coming out, but I wasn't expecting Daniel Bryan. For some reason, I was expecting somebody else like returning. But
yeah, something. I totally wasn't either. I think it's because Daniel Bryan came out earlier and cut the promo.
Harper, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. No, I don't think Luke Harper's big enough, not for McMahon to pull somebody that is definitely going to win this match.
Well, I mean, Harper's big as fuck, and he's the more like mindset one of the Bludgeon Brothers, and obviously Rowan came out to the Bludgeon Brothers theme instead of his wacky theme music.
But Rowan looks more like a monster.
Just because he's bald.
I think he's got a beard.
He's either taller than Harper, or he's broader than Harper, or both. He is a little bit bigger than Harper. He looks more like a monster than Harper does. Harper is big, but you got to include the fact that in the ring he rarely moves like he's big. You know, he's actually quite light on his feet. So it kind of gives the illusion of a smaller guy. And next to Rowan, he really is smaller.
Yeah. I don't know. But where do we go from here? I mean, I'm sure this is what I would like to see. I would like to see, I know Hunter has got his own thing going on with Batista, and Shane's got his own thing going on with Miz. But I would like Stephanie maybe show up and be like, look, Dad, this is bullshit. Like, you can't keep doing this, you know. So I'm going to make a match, and then, you know, it's a fatal 5-way #1 contender match or something. You throw in Kofi, you throw in Kevin Owens, you throw in Mustafa Ali. I don't know for the other two, but this is where you can get like a Sami Zayn return.
That'd be a interesting way to bring back
because it comes down to Kofi and Kevin.
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn pulls up and screws Kevin, and that's how Kofi would get in.
No, then you're taking away Kofi. Kofi's momentum right now is his sheer ability to win without help.
Yeah.
And to avoid losing without help.
I'm just trying to set up another WrestleMania match.
Well, there's a couple of ways to go here. And I think your idea has merit, but I think it'd be better if it was Linda McMahon. She's
the only McMahon we haven't seen.
Yeah, well, and she's the only one that's left that's not busy, because I think Stephanie's kind of busy with the Ronda, Becky, fucking Charlotte shit. She's the only one historically that's ever been able to trump Vince McMahon.
Sure, I remember that with the Stone Cold storyline back in the day.
I don't know. I think Trump McMahon.
Trump bought the company. He didn't trump McMahon.
No, I'm saying like
he bought Raw and then turned it around for a profit.
He had McMahon
and dumped money
bald.
on people. He dumped. Remember that episode of Raw when he dumped money on? I was like, God damn, why couldn't that have been Louisville? And I'd been there. Fuck. But yeah, Linda McMahon could come out and right the wrong and just give it to Kofi, and it would make sense.
When's the last time she's been on WWE television?
Exactly. That's what. But that would be the whole blind
like,
side.
I'm trying to like scramble through the hours of.
The big problem with her is that she's part of Trump's cabinet, so technically she's like a politician now.
Yeah.
So it might be against her interest to be on television.
That would be hilarious though for her Vince to come out like hanging his head.
If she comes on television and gives Kofi the match and he becomes the first ever black WWE champion, then I think that looks good on her.
Yes, it does.
So you could totally bring in Linda McMahon to do that. You could have Kofi put up either his career or put up, if he loses, the New Day has to split up. I think somebody, it was either Aaron or somebody on Wrestle Talk, had the idea of a triple threat with all of the New Day. I think it was No DQ Live, somebody's idea.
Yeah, it was a No DQ Live super chat.
That's not a bad one, where Kofi has to beat his two best friends in order to get the shot. But they're going to try and beat him too. I
actually had that idea in my head the other day, but that was going to be the end for the gauntlet match. Have Vince McMahon come out there and tell like Big E and Xavier Woods, like, you two are like Kofi's last opponent. If you don't lose, I'm going to be wishing you the best in your future endeavors.
Oh,
right. Like if you don't fight back. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you win, if you don't win, you're fired.
Yeah.
I think that goes too far.
Well,
then you have to fire him.
Well, either way.
No, they beat Kofi.
They beat Kofi, and like Kofi has no choice but to forgive him.
No, because that splits up. No, fuck that. That splits up.
It would split them up because
it would start the dissension.
They
would have to beat the fuck out of Kofi for him not to kick out. Oh my god. So
that'd be brutal to watch.
Or he takes the fall. He purposely takes the fall to save their jobs.
Yep.
He just lays down and says, "Pin me."
That's just nobility for one. Plus, you've already seen that kind of like, not really give up, but what else am I supposed to do attitude they had when Kevin Owens went out there and signed his contract for the Fastlane pay-per-view. You didn't see him fight back or anything. He's like, there's really no point in the matter. There's really nothing he can do about it. So, but I am digging your Linda McMahon idea. I'm digging that like crazy, which means only one thing and one thing alone. That is not gonna fucking happen. if my predictions are true, that's now a prediction of mine.
She's the only McMahon that can shut McMahon up and change his law.
Short of his grandkids.
I don't think he's got any grandkids old enough to be.
Oh, they should be old enough by now. So at least two of Triple H's daughters.
18?
No, I'm saying like they're be old enough that they're like.
No, okay, he's old enough to come out with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania.
Oh
But then there's old enough to be a storyline character.
Yeah, dude.
I would say
let's
adult.
leave the kids out of it. No.
Yeah.
No.
I think Shane was well into his 20s when he started, and Stephanie was at least old enough to drink because she drank at her bachelorette party with Triple H when Triple H had the bartender roofie her.
Yep.
And then married her.
Yeah, Vince made him go to college and get a degree before they can get into the business. So
it was a smart move on his part.
Yep. And then they show up in the background of something. That was the first time I saw Stephanie McMahon. Was somebody was looking for someone and she was in the background. He was like, "Hey, where's so and so?" And she's like, "I don't know," and runs off. But Shane McMahon was very similar.
Shane McMahon popped up on Sunday Night Heat as like a commentator. And
even before that, he was in the back. He was in the back.
Yeah.
He was seen in the fucking hallways.
But he referee and stuff back in the day. And Stephanie used to model fucking clothes.
I remember her.
WWF shop.
That was after. That was after we saw her in the hallway. I'm telling you, I watched.
But yeah,
I watched recently.
I synced it.
Colin, I'm cueing you, man. I'm cueing you. Colin!
Not till 5.
Support, no DQ.
So, after the brief interlude, we are on to, I guess, the main event.
Mm-hmm.
This is the top 5, or the bottom 5. What is it, Jerry?
Well, it's going to be a top 5, but it's no specific order, because I'm going to do it that way unless you have one particular wrestler in mind for the top spot. And we are going to go with the top 5 most underrated superstars. Pretty much in any company, not just WWE. Some like the wrestlers that you feel never really got a fair shake and were just super talented.
Oh, never got a fair shake?
Yes.
I was going to say Sami Zayn, but he's gotten a pretty fair shake.
Yeah.
Well, I figure, like, one of the top ones is always going to be Dolph Ziggler in my head.
He got a fair enough shake. I mean, he's a former champion. Yeah. A lot of people can't say that.
He's a champion for like a day.
Twice.
Yeah. And then all the Intercontinental titles that he's had in the U.S. title. You know what I mean?
There's always going to be those wrestlers that always have those mid-card titles that never reach the greatness.
His win-loss record may not reflect it, but he's been in the main event a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think Dolph Ziggler is as underrated as maybe you think he is.
All right. Well, so my Colin mentioned a little while ago, Lance Storm.
No. In-ring wise, I think he's like a cult classic in-ring wise, but as far as his promo ability goes, he's absolutely not underrated. He is boring as fuck.
Yeah,
if I could be serious for a moment.
He was very boring on the mic, I'll give you that, but no, dude, the dude had a fair shake back in WCW. How many titles was he going at the same time?
I know, and he made them all Canadian.
Yeah. Canadian stickers over every fucking one of them.
Oh, yeah, he had like 4 titles or some shit. Of course, WCW back then was the company that actually had more titles than I would be okay with. And I'm the guy that loves more titles. But in that case, yeah, because there were other titles in the works, but Lance Storm still came out draped in gold.
All right, so do we know of any superstars? We only have to do a top 5. I think this is just a really cool topic just to talk about in general.
Let's find 5 people that are underrated.
We'll just find 5 people between the 3 of us that we feel are underrated. And don't get the recognition or didn't get the titles that they deserved.
Well, I mean,
William Regal.
Regal is a big one. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, William Regal all day. I mean, the dude is a mastermind and a genius in what he does.
Dustin Rhodes, not Gold Dust. Gold Dust got everything he fucking deserved as a character, but Dustin
Rhodes is Gold Dust. Dusty is his dad.
I know who Dustin Rhodes is. I'm saying Dustin Rhodes.
Okay.
Maybe you're saying
Yeah.
Dusty, but I'm saying his son didn't get as himself and
Oh
not
yeah.
fucking
Oh okay.
Goldust.
I got you then. All right. It's 3.
Yeah, they had had to throw him in a skin tight latex jumpsuit with
For
gold
people to
paint
take him seriously
in order to do anything with him, and I'm like, I think Dustin could have been just not Dustin Rhodes, maybe a cool like Axl Rhodes, something.
Nah.
A cooler name, but
Dirt.
Dirt.
Dirt Rhodes.
Dirt roads.
Cobblestone. What's your name, son? Cobblestone.
Your voice sounds kind of gravelly there. Oh.
That's my nephew, Country.
Oh, man.
Country road.
Well,
Dusty roads, take me home
let's
to the place.
see. I would say Jerry Lynn, but Jerry Lynn actually had the ECW belt for a while too, and I think he actually held the ROH belt for a short time.
Petey Williams.
Petey Williams is always awesome, but I never really saw him as a heavyweight, so I never really saw him going after a heavyweight belt.
Crimson.
I didn't know we were seeing.
Well, I know, but I'm saying
yeah.
yeah, he's super underrated. He's like one of the best mat technicians, and for God's sakes, he invented the Canadian Destroyer.
Destroyer. That thing's
That
bread and
thing's a
butter,
beast.
man. That's so
The only
good.
way they can move can be made any better is if they had double arm underhook. He does like flips over him like that first, you know.
Crimson.
Oh, Crimson like was at OVW last time I went to go see them live in E-Town, signing autographs and everything. Still does it, but yeah, he's underrated.
Well, I don't want to say he didn't get like a fair shake. It was just an unfortunate event. But Nigel McGuinness.
McGinnis was also really good. Great.
Just,
He was
you
he was subpar ROH champion, but at the same time he always put on good matches, excellent matches, really.
But just imagine if he could have continued his career.
Oh yeah.
I think Bobby Lashley in WWE. Maybe not in TNA, but certainly in WWE. Bobby Lashley. He should have been so much more.
Yeah.
Are we talking present or back then?
It should have been from the beginning, and he would have never left, kind of thing.
Because like, I can't with the bullshit they're doing with him now. I can't about
Go
it.
back to his debut and put him under the tutelage of Paul Heyman from the beginning as the next big thing, and treat him right and make him the first black WWE champion 10 years prior.
Yeah.
And he never would have left, and all he needed was a proper mouthpiece, and Heyman would have been great.
Mm-hmm. But
And a proper finishing move. His finishing move has always been kind of
lackluster as shit.
Yeah.
I liked it for a while there when he actually used the Dominator. Like for me, that's always like just a simple looking move, but it's so fucking devastating every time I ever watch it. Between that and Alabama Slam, both those things are just vicious looking.
My idea was that he should take the Dominator and then pull him forward into a DDT.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be his own version, and it would be something different that nobody does, and it would be a great finisher that's original. Something. Take the Dominator into something. I understand why he would use the Dominator, an homage, but if they'd have treated him right, he should have been the first black champion 10 years ago, and he should have never left the company. I think TNA, I didn't even see him in TNA, but I think TNA did him right, but definitely not WWE.
No, WWE dropped the ball on him hard.
What? Okay. Go on.
Charlie Haas.
Oh, Haas definitely.
That stupid ass gimmick he had of mimicking everybody for the longest time.
Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko. It's like Eddie and Benoit eventually got the belts, but what happened to Malenko and Saturn? They just Saturn ended up in a
Malenko
skirt.
got the light heavyweight title a few times.
Ended up stalking, was it Lita?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then fucking Saturn got a goddamn mop.
Yeah.
Like,
wasn't he kissing a mop? Like
yeah,
dating
Moppy.
a moppy. Oh god. So, but in WCW, Saturn was fucking great. Oh,
Yeah.
You know who should have gone a lot further was Glacier. His entrance was amazing. And then he comes out and he's got the fucking martial arts, karate or judo or whatever shit he's doing.
Yep.
And then he gets in the ring and does that shit. Like, he should have been so much bigger. With the lasers and the fucking armory. Like, dude, his entrance was the shit.
One of my favorite wrestlers that never really caught on like he should have. They had great gimmicks started for him, and then they saddled him with a stupid one that just went nowhere. And he had
The
the
Demon?
side, huh?
The Demon? No, okay, never mind.
And he had the size and the agility
Snitsky?
and the look and everything for him.
Canyon?
Sean O'Hare.
Yes, I love
Sean O'Hare was the shit. And like his gimmick that he had for a while there, almost like the devil's advocate, you know, it's like, and I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. Like they got rid of that in favor of making him Roddy Piper's bodyguard. I'm like, you guys have a perfect gimmick here. You have this guy that pulls off a swanton like it's beautiful. Like
That double.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he like rolls off like a fucking superhero landing.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like.
I thought he did it better than Jeff Hardy back then.
He did it like leagues better because he always landed it. It always looked a lot more effective. Like he actually put some force and some torque behind it.
Not like he just rolled his neck over the dude's.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy flails. That's what he does. Okay, he flails for a living. Like it doesn't. It's not even wrestling anymore with him. He just like hits a whole bunch of high spots and that's it. Matt Hardy has always been the superior Hardy brother. And the people are always like, oh, look at Jeff, he's way up there. Look at Matt, he's winning championships on the ground.
All you have to know about Jeff Hardy is just watch his promos. Matt Hardy can deliver a promo and create a character and a world. Jeff Hardy just does really high spots that fuck up his body.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where he has to take a lot of pills and drink a lot of booze.
Well, that led to, what was it, Victory Road, I think it was, with him versus Sting, where Sting pretty much had to hold him down for a pin so he wouldn't embarrass himself anymore.
Yeah.
God.
Just an immediate Scorpion death drop, pinfall, done. Go back, you fucking alcohol.
But, yeah, Sean O'Hare had all the tools and everything he needed to become a great champion in that company, but it just got squandered.
Well, speaking of Sean O'Hare, Mark Jindrak.
Oh, Jindrak still wrestles?
What about Sean Stasiak? Fucking meat. Meat.
Pretty much almost anybody in the Natural Born Thrillers, like, stable that was in WCW.
Oh, you know who should have gotten, if it hadn't been for the goddamn mullet, I think he would have been great.
Mike Awesome?
Yes, Mike Awesome with the awesome mullet.
Oh, Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka in ECW and Gladiator Championship Wrestling. It was like some of the greatest stuff I had ever seen. Those two eat chair shots for breakfast. So...
tag teams, Deuce and Domino with Cherry.
I saw them so many times in OVW.
Oh, that's the cue for the end of the show.
That's the cue.
I think we've listed 15, so we've got 5 for everybody. So we got to let this guy get some sleep. We've been doing this probably for an hour.
Yeah, I'd say
almost an hour. So there are no plugs. There's no outro. This is the General Jerry Slaughter. This is the Cleaver Colin Andrew. I'm Stefan Osborne. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.